Well, the rain has to fall 'cause we need all the water. But why's it have to fall in the middle of the day? I prefer rain at night when it falls like it oughta, so I can hear it on the roof as I try to fall asleep. And the roof gets wet, the house gets wet, the trees get wet, the grass gets wet, the flowers get wet, the skunk gets wet, the driveway gets wet, the window gets wet. Drops in a puddle create circles inside circles, and drops on the pavement look like little crowns. When it rains on our street, there are streams by the sidewalk, our own personal rivers that rush into town. And the town gets wet, the streets get wet, the buildings get wet, the people get wet, umbrellas get wet, tips of shoes get wet, the cars get wet, the trucks get wet. The dogs get wet, the cats get wet, the birds get wet, the fish get wet, policeman gets wet, the mailbox gets wet, the bikes get wet, the hats get wet, the kids get wet, the signs get wet, the schools get wet, the library gets wet, the stones get wet, the mountains get wet, the beaches get wet, the bridges get wet, the gravestones get wet, the squirrels get wet, the stores get wet, the squirrels get wet, get wet, 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 get wet, get wet, get